All right, good morning. I've got my coffee here because I'm tired. Yeah, we're gonna chat for I don't know a few minutes talking about. I get a question kind of a lot, and it's specifically why YouTube, right? So this is a bit of a YouTube chat video, and yeah, so if this isn't something you guys normally watch, don't worry about tuning in. But hey, love to have you here. So with that said, though, yesterday I was actually on Discord, which I am quite active on, and I was just kind of coasting through one of the Discord servers that I'm a member of, and I had within the within yesterday in general, the time span that 24 hours, I had 5 different people mentioned that they watched my videos, that they loved my videos. Which, first of all, if you're watching this, thank you so much. But like, just for it to happen once stuck out in my mind, right? Because I'm like, oh goodness, I've got like 1,000 subscribers, right? 1,500 subscribers. And so what are the odds? What are the odds for it to happen 5 times? So yeah, I don't see myself as a big YouTuber or anything like that, but we're performing really well on YouTube. You guys have seen that too. You guys are the reason for that, honestly. So thank you again. But the reason I do what I do specifically, other than the joy that I get out of it, is to share things with you guys, right? Things that I have learned, things that maybe have taken me a lot of time to learn and to improve myself, right? I've been kind of a weird dude my entire life, if I can call it that, right? I've been in stages of my own growth in the past that I wouldn't call like proud, never a bad person by any means, but you know, I was never where I am today, right? We're always growing, we're always changing, and that's true for me as well. And so what I see from this, what I see value wise from something like YouTube outside of this community, growing this community, communicating with you all, but is the effect that it has on my learning, my abilities to communicate my ideas and get them forward, get them out to you, right? In a minute, I'll talk about a hilarious hilarious to me. I thought of something yesterday that literally had me laughing. I cried. It's the first time I've done that in like years. I mean, the laughing till crying, not the crying part. I'll cry just because numbers go up. But no, so my main thing is I do what I do. I have always done what I have been doing to inspire other people. That has always been my answer because it is the truth. That's not the only reason I do what I do. I also just extremely enjoy what I do. Creating Bionicles has been a passion of mine for my entire life. And leading up to just a handful of years ago, it was something I was ashamed of because kids' toy, you know? And there's no reason to be ashamed of that because as an adult, first of all, the first thing I can tell you about being an adult, we're all pretending, you know? None of us know what we're doing. You go see like top level CEOs and crap, and like we're all pretending. We're all putting on a show for ourselves, for others, and some people can do it with more confidence. Some people can do it with more finesse. But at the end of the day, we all have our guilty pleasures. We all have our passions. And if we thought somebody else out there knew we had them, yeah, that might make some of us feel a little ashamed of it. But there's no reason to be ashamed because as a human, you're allowed to enjoy. You're entitled to enjoy what you like. No one can tell you differently. So my thing is, because I have enjoyed Bionicle as much as I have, people have begun to know me as sort of like the Rahi guy. And if you don't know what Rahi are, it's just animals in Bionicle words, right? So like I've shown the parrot a dozen times, but it's also the closest thing I have to me, right? So this, just creating animals out of Bionicle pieces. It's very simple. No, I shouldn't say simple. That's not the right word. But it's very freeing. I love doing it. Pardon me, I'm gonna get a drink. And I've been doing it for years. Surprisingly, it's actually not the type of content that does terribly well on the channel, but I still continue to do it because I enjoy it. It doesn't matter how it does view-wise. But the thing is that YouTube, let's straighten up a little bit, you know? Get in the zone. Stretch out here, right? YouTube in and of itself is a mystery to me, but I do know how to analyze something when something is working. You'll notice we've shifted things a little bit on the channel recently. That was part of an experiment that I've been kind of running in the background with these sort of more informative videos like this. And people have really been liking them. People have really been engaging with them, which is crazy because I thought that people were going to be here. But this is why I don't want to jump on that tangent just yet. I thought that people were going to be here because of the work that I create, right? The unique things that I do. And they are, don't get me wrong. The videos with the most views on this channel are my own creations. And I continue to do that stuff. But more specifically, I don't see myself, and I've said this in past videos as well, I don't see myself as a Bionicle YouTuber, because I'm not. I am a YouTuber who has a passion for Bionicle, and there's a stark difference there. One of the reasons that I present myself first and foremost in a lot of these videos is not just because I have software and hardware limitations. I am restricted on where I can move the webcam, on where I can place lighting. This is a very small space. It's like an 8x10 room, essentially, right? And so because of that, I have to work within my means. I can't go out and buy, a bunch of stuff for videos like this. I can't go do like reviews and things because, again, I've mentioned this in previous videos as well, but like I take care of my mom at home, right? So this is a method of growing this channel to hopefully let it be sustainable. I know that that's far in the distance if it ever happens at all, right? I've heard of channels that have 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 subscribers or more that can't make ends meet. I'm lucky to be in a situation where our monthly bills are not like a crazy amount of money. I live in a trailer, which we own. So the rent on that isn't astronomical, right? It is going up next year, which is a whole nother story. But that's not the point. But the reason that I do what I do is because I'm passionate about what I do. And it doesn't just force me to learn, but it does so in a environment where I think I'm most primed to do so. You know what I mean? It's like this. When I was in school, I loved to write. I loved to come up with my own stories, but I was never in a class that allowed me to do that for myself. Because oftentimes the teacher would not just tell you to write, but they would tell you what to write. It's kind of the same thing as art classes, right? I loved art, but oftentimes teachers would tell you what to make, and that bothered me. Those limitations bothered me. I've had a few teachers, a few instances where they would let you just kind of go free, and those I adored. That's where I found my love for like sculpting and stuff. It's so much fun. I there's nothing like it. And I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't have that if I had been told what I needed to make, but I wasn't. I was given some restrictions, of course, and that's always fine, but I wasn't steered in a specific direction I didn't want to go in, right? It's like putting someone in a car with a certain amount of gas. Yeah, they can only go so far, but if you don't give them any further direction, they can go wherever they want within that range. But if you tell them, hey, take me to this place, yeah, that'd be a little annoying. Anyway, I realized I get in this kind of flow state when I'm talking, which really helps too. That's something that I've kind of developed for this channel specifically, this sort of cadence of mine, which is not something that I've done before. I don't know where it comes from, but I'll take it because I can tend to have issues with communication, right? My brain, ADHD, whatever the case, whatever it is, really limits my ability for communicating ideas. But this cadence really helps because it gives me time to think. And it gives me time to really reflect on what I'm saying rather than trying to think about what I'm saying before I say it, if that makes sense. Because that can get a little noisy and kind of water things down or wash things out completely. So, yeah. The second thing I wanted to say, too, is that I enjoy YouTube right now. Whereas in the past, I would make YouTube as sort of this supplementary thing to the other work that I was doing. I had more followers on Instagram and still do, obviously, but so a lot of my work I made specifically for Discord, and that was where I posted all of the stuff that I did. Instagram got a little taste of that, and YouTube was kind of this third venue for me to post when I felt like posting. But because I, for such a long time, have had a kind of crappy phone, let's be honest, that has its own issues, that would oftentimes lead to issues with the audio quality, with other things too. And that's not to say that the audio quality or the quality in these videos is perfect, but it is what I have right now. And it is the best that I can do with what I have, with my resources currently. In the future, do I plan on changing things? Absolutely. When I can afford a better computer, then better computer. When I can afford to mess around with, the setup a little bit more, of course I will. That's not the point though. The aesthetics of a channel are one thing, but I have seen so many people, so many services out there specifically. If you're a small YouTube channel and you're looking at something like TubeBuddy or vidIQ, that will tell you that the first thing you need to focus on is like the aesthetic of your workspace and stuff. And to a degree, that's true. Don't get me wrong. But it's not as true as you think it is. Because here's the thing. People on YouTube don't really care what things look like. I mean, if that was always true, why would there be faceless YouTube channels that do so well? The aesthetic is important, but it's not the end all be all. And I wouldn't even say it's like in the top 10 list, to be honest. So what gets me about this is that I've seen so many small channels on YouTube that honestly just fly under the radar, and yet they look better than channels I have seen with tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of subscribers, if you're going from just that alone. That's not to say that the quality of the videos is any better at the end of the day, what the topic is about. And who am I to say anyway? You know, I have a specific preference for the types of videos, the types of content I like to consume. So it's not up to me whether these channels are doing good. I say continue doing what you're doing, and I'm going to do the same, right? This has worked out for me. Our numbers continue to go up. I literally have YouTube Studio open in the background here, which maybe I can open up and show you guys here as well. In fact, let me go ahead and try doing that. Also, I don't know what's going on here. Hold on. Shorts is being a little weird. Anyway, let me go ahead and try and open it up. So, sure, let's see. I also wanted to do a video on the Lego Space, or not Lego Space, Lego Technic Space specifically. I just couldn't get any of the like models to load up yesterday, which was very kind of irritating, but it's whatever. All right. Yeah, so we are in a real high point right here, right now. Again, you can't see from this graph here like an extrapolated view of like the last year or whatnot. But just remember, take my word for it. The end, we're at 1,590 subscribers. Good Lord. I fell asleep yesterday, woke up this morning to having 2,700 more views than when I fell asleep. And I was like, what, where from? Anyway, but yeah, so we started out last month with getting about 200 to 300 views per day. Currently, we're in this trend of between 3,500 and 4,500, and it is steadily rising, that's pretty cool. I have had a lot of people say, you know, do you worry about burnout, or the opposite? You know, are you worried that, you know, YouTube is going to punish your videos because of the amount of content that you've been putting out? And I've done a lot of research on this as well, because I've also worried about it, but I don't yet. Burnout is one thing. I haven't gotten there yet, and I'm thankful that I haven't. But one of the reasons I'm not a Bionicle YouTuber is because I do not want to burn myself out on my passion. I do that on my own already well enough. Here's the thing. One of the reasons that I build Rahi in sort of bursts, if you will, like I'll post like 5, 6, 7 Rahi on Discord kind of all in a handful of days, and then not anymore for like a handful of months, isn't because I'm holding on to them, isn't because I'm doing drops or anything, but it's literally because that's my workflow with building. I get into this mindset where I really want to build, and then sometimes I get into a mindset of I can't touch a piece, I can't even look at a piece right now, and I think that's all of us, right? Things that that's why I don't want to turn this passion of mine into my career in and of itself. For it to flavor my career, that's lovely, but for it to be my career, that worries me, because I would never want my entire community alone to be built around this idea of you're the Bionicle guy, so you need to make Bionicle, you know, because that's rough. And again, it's sort of someone else steering you in a specific direction instead of you steering it, right? The channel, whatever. Which is why I can also cover other topics on this channel if they feel relevant to me, if I feel like I have something important to say. It's why I put out those Illuminati videos, because I felt like I specifically had something to say from my own perspective. I never claimed that any of those videos were some drama YouTuber thing. Yes, that is a dramatic situation, absolutely, but I don't want to be someone out there regurgitating that information, right? Rather, I want to know for a fact that I am affected by it, or I have a personal take on my own. You know, and there are other topics I've thought about covering, but I didn't have that same connection to them, right? For example, something trending on the internet right now is attacking James Somerton, right? Someone who plagiarized a lot of content, and we got that information thanks to Hbomberguy, which is a fantastic YouTube channel if you have not checked them out, by the way. An incredible awe-inspiring amount of due diligence, of research that goes into making those types of videos. And they're great. It's a 4-hour video, but it flies by. Like, I am no joke. If you're building, just turn it on in the background, pause it when you're not watching it, turn it back on. You know, it's great. But suffice to say, I never consumed James Somerton's content. I didn't even know they weren't a person on my radar. I didn't know they existed, because I'm not someone who usually goes out for, like, I got from this video that they do a lot of stuff about, like, books and movies and things, and that's just not where I'm at on YouTube. You know, I'm not usually searching for that kind of content unless it's like a movie I'm about to watch or something. And I don't read too terribly much, just because, like, again, my brain is always full of words. I can't concentrate enough on the pages, right? But because I'm not in that world, could I grab onto that trending topic and spin it to work for the channel? Sure, absolutely. Because I think I could make a point about plagiarism and things, but I don't feel it's my place to do so, because there are other creators who have done far more work. And I don't think I add anything valuable to the table in that case, because I have not consumed their content. I know nothing about that person. I can speak about the situation, but I can't speak about the person causing that situation. And so I don't think that I have enough room there. I would just be an extra, a plate at the table when I'm not contributing in any way. So anyway, yeah, those are some of my main points. But yeah, again, like I said, I do this because I enjoy what I do. I create the amount of content, and I've gotten into this a bit of a how do I want to phrase this? A bit of a structure, if you will, for the channel specifically, where I can put out like 2 to 3 videos per day. And I usually do so around certain times a day. Right now it is 10 a.m. I slept in a little bit this morning, but I'm not going to complain about that. And so usually I like to get my first video out before 10 a.m. or around that time period. Then I like to do one in the early afternoon, and then one late evening kind of video. And if I can squeeze a short in there, I will, right? And personally, I'd probably do one short rather than that third video, if at all possible. But it really just depends on what's on my mind, because a lot of the times, a lot of these videos, although I have a list of video topics on my phone, I rarely touch that because I can save that for the future. Rather, a lot of these videos pop up like, oh, here's something I want to address. Here's something on the top of my mind right this minute. Let me talk about it. In fact, I don't know if I know I showed the Maxillos in the short here. So you guys probably know this mask if you're watching this channel because you're into Bionicle stuff. And so this mask bothers me. A lot of the 2007 masks bother me, although they're really cool. I think their design is excellent, but having little things like this stick off of the mask that you can't remove is a bother, because it limits the usability of that piece. For example, I like to use masks on Rahi. Again, going back to the bird here for a minute, who has a Bakari right there on the back. In fact, I have never used the Akaku on a set, though, because of its asymmetry, right? It doesn't feel natural to me. Now, that's not to say asymmetric masks are bad. Don't get me wrong. If this was the only mask we got in 2007 that was like this, I wouldn't have nearly as much of an issue as I have. But several of the masks we got from 2007 were asymmetric, and for no reason, right? If I got it right here. Hold on. If I take a look at... I'm trying to look for Hydraxon's mask specifically. I have several. Well, I was gonna pull it out, but even Hydraxon's mask is asymmetric. It's minimal, and I don't mind like minimal asymmetry. Good lord, I really can't see where it is, huh? I saw like 2 of them, 3 of them yesterday. Anyway, whatever, it's fine. Fun fact: Hydraxon's mask also comes in black. If you didn't know that, apparently a surprising amount of people don't know that. It comes from Hero Factory, though. That's probably why. Anyway. Yeah, so that's one of the things that bothers me. This is kind of the same thing, right? If Lego, instead of attaching this to the mask itself, having it grafted on where you can't remove it, if instead they had used this connection, bar-shaped connections, and given you a hole, one on each side, then what Lego could have done was given you a little package along with your Toa set when you bought it at the store, and that package would have maybe 4 or 5 different items in it, different accessories that you can attach to the mask yourself. This seems out of the ordinary, but this is actually something that Lego has done, and someone mentioned this yesterday. It completely slipped my mind, but with Star Wars minifigures as well, with the clone troopers, I believe specifically. I might have the wrong one in my head, but where they have like the little visor that can go over the head, or they have the range scope. I'm not a Star Wars guy. I'm sorry. I know I'm getting some of this stuff wrong, but you guys know what I mean, right? Have the little thing that sticks up out of the side, or the little rocket looking thing on the side, which I know that's not what any of those are, but you get my point, right? And that would have been an excellent idea, I think, in 2007. If instead of this, you got a hole here and then you got something roughly this shape to go in there instead, it would work for this, but it would also work for Greebling, for the Toba Terrain Call, or other sets like that as well. So this is what I did, just kind of as a haphazard way to kind of show you my idea, right? It gives you the exact same structure. I cannot hold it there. It gives you the exact same structure as this mask, although I only put one of these eyepieces on there, but you could do it with two. But suffice to say, it still works out really well. And if I don't want any of these, I can just detach them. I can just take them off, right? Or I could add other things there. So I could do two of these tubes, or two of the breathing apparatus, whatever, right? And all of those are pieces that exist from Lego. So Lego has pieces that fit the bill here. It just would have been nice to have seen them actually kind of go in this direction. And 2007 was the perfect opportunity to do it. Unfortunately, they just missed the mark. I don't blame them for doing that, by the way. I'm sure that it didn't even cross their mind. Or if it did, then I'm really upset. But yeah, because I really love the design of this mask. I believe Nuparu might have been... No, he was the second Mari that I got, because Kangu was the first, because I loved that mask too. And at the time, I think I hadn't been getting a lot of green sets, so I got Kangu kind of out of guilt. Anyway, but yeah, so just interesting stuff. At the end of the day, I have my opinions about Lego, I have my opinions about Bionicle, and I feel free to share those. I'm not sponsored by anybody, let alone Lego. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. And I like them as a company, don't get me wrong. So, but everybody has their opinions, right? Everybody thinks that Lego does things super right in certain areas and super wrong in other areas. That everybody knows that there are missed opportunities and hits with Lego, right? And so Lego knows that, you know, that's why they're always doing research and development of these types of things. Anyway, so suffice to say, none of us are perfect. You know, I'll continue to improve my content. I'll continue to improve the flow of this channel. I'm in awe, as I mentioned, of just the sheer amount of engagement that we get here. The community here is honestly incredible. The community in Bionicle, I know, has a bad name sometimes, gets a lot of flack from Lego enjoyers. And I think that's honestly misplaced. Again, I've said it, you know, every fandom in the world has toxic members. Bionicle obviously is one of them, but that's the case for everything. Anytime you collect a group of people together, some of those people, they're not going to be the best, you know, but that's always true. Anyway, so that's pretty much it for this one. If you guys did enjoy the video, I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to subscribe. You're more than welcome to. Planning on more content here coming around the corner. Got some Baraki combinations I got to do, so those should be fun, and hopefully you enjoy those as well. Of course, as always, I mentioned Discord and Instagram here. You can check those out in the description below, and of course, if you want to support what we're doing here, you can check out the Patreon down there as well, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.